TNA Wrestling crossed the line again with their first and probably most historic pay-per-view to date. Genesis 2025 is in the books, and my word, did they deliver an exceptional night of wrestling with surprises, crossovers, and new champions. And we'll get into that and so much more on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Now, before we start with Genesis, they had the countdown to Genesis, which busted open radio. Did get involved as well. But it started with a message from Jordynne Grace to Tessa Blanchard, basically saying that Tessa Blanchard abandoned everything and that the locker room is now Jordynne Grace's, which is interesting. And she's going to put Tessa back where she belongs in obscurity. Well, we'll have to see if that happens. But a fiery promo. You can tell there's animosity there with Jordynne Grace. You can tell it. She doesn't like Tessa Blanchard. That is plain to see. And that is sometimes what makes storylines work when there's a little bit of hatred. You see it with the CM Punk stuff if you watch WWE. When there's a little bit of needle there, it makes it work so much. There was obviously talk also about the TNA NXT partnership, which is, you know, brilliant in itself, which we'll kind of get into that and a whole lot more when we get started with this. But it actually, the countdown actually had a crossover all straight away with Ashanti the Adonis from NXT. He was a part of Hit Row, so with AJ Francis, funnily enough. He comes out and basically says he's going to issue an open challenge and that he is the main attraction on TNA right now. And that he's going to issue an open challenge. On a side note, Mackenzie Mitchell, formerly of NXT and WWE, is with TNA. Another great acquisition, maybe one that's gone below under the radar. But as we said, Ashanti the Adonis does indeed issue an open challenge. And it was answered by not someone, something. Jake something. And Adonis started it right, attacking him from behind straight away, to be fair. It didn't last too long. Something hit him with a clothesline, and he did actually get up and slap Jake something. And if you're gonna slap Jake, you got to knock him down, Shanna. If you're gonna hit someone, knock him down. And he just hits him. Jake's own blasts him with a forearm. It was brilliant. Although to be fair to Adonis, he did hit the airdrop shift. The airdrop to shift the momentum, but in the end, Shantae went into the void and lost. So his open challenge didn't go well. Wasn't so open in a sense, and the only thing open was the hole, the void hole that he got put in by Jake something. Shantae, maybe some work to do, my friend, but who knows? You could be on TNA this coming Thursday when the live episode of Impact will begin. Coincidentally, you can see that, and you could see Genesis on the TNA Plus app. Get downloaded, get subscribed, and watch some of this because this is incredible. They did actually tease the X Division title, the new X Division Championship, which we will get into. We mentioned it on this week's Impact that there would be a new title championship, so we'll get into that. Although JDC decided that he was going to do some commentary at this point as well during the match. Not during that match, but to kill some time for a bit with the pre-show panelists as well. The Rascalz gave a message to the Hardy Boys, ready for their tag match again, their massive tag team title match, shall I say, against the Hardys, their dream match. But JDC did mention that he was going to be on commentary, and he was indeed. And this was the Frankie Kazarian Leon Slater match, the self-proclaimed king of TNA, Frankie Kazarian. Of course, he does have that call your shot gauntlet. The opportunity at any time, by the way, at any time, any place. Man, geez, this was great. You know, Kazarian, we always say, the wily veteran, Leon Slater, the exciting kid. And you know what it's like when Leon Slater gets there, gets going. He has the crowd on his feet, and that's exactly what he did in this match. A really big blue thunder bomb in this as well. He dives through the ropes. He done his great well-timed. There was just so much stuff. This great well-timed move that Leon Slater was doing. Kazarian also done this great leg drop as well. We done slingshot cutter as well in this. He went for a chicken wing, but Slater avoided it. But you know what? Like, there was this bit here in this match where, like, he goes up for a big dive. Kazarian moves. Slater sort of hits the brakes and hits some crazy sent-on dive move over the rope. The fans slated with the holy shit chant. Of course they were going to do that. But when it looked like Slater had the match won, he was going up for that 450 sent-on. JDC distracts him. Kazarian moves and rolls up Slater and picks up the victory. Real shame on that, because I thought that, I did say in the predictions, I felt as if Kazarian was going to win the match because it made sense, because we don't know what's going on with the Call Your Shot trophy. Disappointing that it had to end that way, but I got a feeling Leon Slater and JDC may be getting into it this coming week on Impact. And I tell you what, another thing to think about when you're looking at this partnership. If you show up on NXT internationally, you're on Netflix. Just say, Leon Slater, NXT, anybody? Against Jebon Evans? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone at all? Take my money, and it'll be on. And again, it'll be on Netflix, which would be amazing. Right, that wrapped up the pre-show. Now on to the main show, and it started with the new X Division Championship. Yes, there is a new one. Yes, there is. There is indeed the next division. I must quickly shout out to my co-host Andy here, just quickly with the Ashante the Adonis thing. He did say, "How about those Commanders, Dallas?" NFL reference. Commanders 1 game away from the playoffs. Andy is right now in ecstasy. But anyway, let's get back to the show. Yeah, Moose does indeed open up a newly designed X Division Championship, and it's caused a little stir online. Some like, some don't. I think it's fine. I don't like it. He's going against Ace Austin, the former Bullet Club. Oh, of course, so with the Bullet Club, of course, and his team partner Chris Bay. Who we all know is recovering from a serious neck injury. But look, this match again, right, goes to prove to me Moose can do X Division shit. He is brilliant. But JDC was again at ringside and interfered in this, causing Ace Austin a distraction and allowed Moose to take over a bit when Ace Austin was gaining some momentum. But I tell you what, this was brilliant because again, it showcased the great talent from Ace Austin. It showcased Moose, who for a big guy can do X Division stuff, man. It was crazy. He was giving Ace Austin everything, and Ace Austin was kicking out of everything. And at one point, Ace Austin gets this reaction. He gets the reaction from the crowd. He goes for the art of finesse, but Moose counters it into a massive spear, then to hit a regular spear out of the corner. And Moose retains the X Division Championship. But I tell you what, for those people that say, and I've said this so many times in this, Moose can absolutely deliver on the X Division stage. No question about it. He retains the X Division Championship from Ace Austin in a great match. Nothing to be shamed about from Ace Austin either, by the way. Great opening contest to Genesis that was, and a victory for Moose from the system. And as soon as that match wraps up, the system join Moose in the ring and they carry on beating down Austin, which then brings out not Eddie Edwards, Eric Young and Steve Maclin, who are teaming up against Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. So exactly what does that happen? Well, they call for the bell and we begin that tag match as a brawl, and the referee calls for the bell and the match has started. And the question with this is whether whether Maclin and Young could coexist as a team. The answer is yes. They could coexist, and they did coexist as a team in this match. Look, Alicia Edwards definitely was getting involved again, and she was making sure that they were getting back in control. Every time Maclin and Young was getting in control, she was causing it to not. But eventually, in this, the KAI from Mr. Mayhem himself on Brian Myers gets the one, the two, the three, and the unconventional team of Young and Maclin pick up the victory against the system. Don't know where they're going to go from there. Eric Young does something later on, actually, and I think it was backstage. And I don't think the cameras saw it as if it wasn't shown live to the audience. So we'll get into that in a little while. But yeah, we're not finished with Eric Young just yet. But a great victory for Young and Maclin. We move swiftly on to the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. Spitfire, Dani, Luna, Jody, Fret against the Elegances, Ash and Heather. Now, if you know and if you remember full well, on Impact this past week, we already had a pre-celebration from George the Iceman, the Concierge, and the Elegances already celebrating the victory that they were going to get at Genesis, which got interrupted by Spitfire, of course. But you know what? Like, I will say this. That, by the way, Blacksmith apparel, Spitfire come out wearing the new gear. You got to get on Blacksmith. Get it. Get your T. They've got some great TNA tracksuits on there. Love it. Love it. Love it. Get yourself a tracksuit for sure. But I tell you what, and obviously Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. I think Heather and Ash were wearing. But I tell you what, though, in this match, when I said about how Ash has improved as a wrestler, you just watch this and you can see how she even dictates a lot of this. Heather was in there as well. She never looked out of place. Spitfire obviously been a team for a while now. Uh, but you know what? Like there was this great double stomp, like coup de grace style that Heather done onto Dani Luna in this, and Ash goes for the cover. They get a two. Then Iceman at ringside grabs the cheerleaders, the pom-poms, and all of that sort of stuff to help the Ash get the offense. But eventually, Spitfire does get Luna does get the tag to Fret, and they win the match. Spitfire retain. Quite surprisingly, although I kind of thought maybe they was gonna retain after the pre-celebration that they'd done, I did think that perhaps they were going to go through with it and win it. But you know what? Again, when we say no harm in defeat, Ash and Heather are a great team in this. And I do think they will win the Knockouts Tag Champions at some point. I really do. I'm glad, though, for Spitfire because they have been like I say, steady Eddie team of the last year or so in TNA, especially in the Knockouts division. I think that was really, really good. And more power to him going forward. But the Elegance is for me big year ahead, despite defeat in this one. And congratulations to Spitfire. Now we come to the brawl. I mean, yes, there was a brief backstage promo by Kaz, basically saying he's got one eye on the main event, which we'll get into when we get to the main event. Tessa Blanchard, Jordynne Grace absolutely delivered in this match. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I know people are not going to listen. The Dallas crowd didn't like Tessa Blanchard for some of the stuff they were chanting. And look, I'll be honest with you, they probably got a point at some of the stuff they were doing. You know, it is what it is. But this was, do you know what? Like, I can't wax lyrical about this match. If they don't like each other, and I think some cases, some of the shots you can probably tell a little bit more harder than normal. And I loved it. I just thought they were so professional. If they don't like each other, they absolutely delivered a match that would wow. I mean, it just cemented how great the Knockouts division is in TNA. They went in a ring, out the ring, power move, technical move, everything you could imagine. These two hitting, they absolutely did. There was modified Canadian destroyers, there was power bombs, yeah, spine busters, everything. However, the end of the match. And this was, well, look, when I'm saying look how good this match was, we're talking early match of the year contender right here. I'm not joking. I'm being totally, honest when I say that. Um, this could get match of the year. It was brilliant, and at the end of the match, and it went on for ages, which was so good. Um, there was a little bit of an issue with the turnbuckle padding at the end of it, but there was a huge code breaker from Tessa Blanchard to pick up the victory. It looks like she tried to expose the turnbuckle pad, which was the issue. But anyway, wow, wow, wow. Outstanding match between these two. Tessa Blanchard picking up the victory, which I'm not surprised about considering what we kind of know with Jordynne Grace, that she's obviously heading off to probably the WWE. Now, what you haven't seen, unless you've gone on to the TNA X stuff, which I suggest you do, Jordynne Grace getting a standing ovation backstage. She's hugging a lot of people, which is really indicating. I think she even got presented with a belt from TNA, which is indicating the end of Jordynne Grace's run with TNA. And all I can say is, if it was the end, absolutely brilliant. What a run from Jordynne Grace. She has been the juggernaut of that division for a reason. She has held the Knockouts division on her back, and she has represented that company brilliantly. And if that is the end for Jordynne Grace in TNA, big thank you for everything you've done. And I'm sure that if you are heading to the WWE, we will definitely see you back on TNA television very, very soon. But Jordynne Grace, superb job. Brilliant, brilliant. What a professional for TNA Wrestling. Someone that's been an ambassador of that company and has done a great, great job in doing so. From one incredible match to another. The I Quit match. Santana's opportunity to become the man in TNA against Josh Alexander. And yes, this has a lot of everything again. We're talking tables, we're talking blood, steel steps, steel chairs, you name it, zip ties again. You've got it. He zip tied Santana's wrists at one point, and oh my God, it was just. There was a bit in this match where Alexander, if you recall Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton at SummerSlam, a good few years ago now, Brock Lesnar raining down the forearms on Randy Orton's head. That's exactly what Alexander does to Santana. Hits a massive C4 spike as well. But when he hits the C4 spike, Santana no-sells it. Jumps up, slaps his own face, and then unloads on Alexander. This was absolutely awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Spin the block attempt. Alexander's not quitting. He's not having anything. He pulls the steel steps over. And he cannonballs through. There's a cannonball through the table as well. Sorry on this. And Alexander's still refusing to quit. And as Alexander is literally bleeding from the mouth and he's handcuffed, he's like, "You will never be the guy, Mike." And then he's booting Alexander in the head. Oh my God. He threatens to curb stomp him onto the steel steps, which is when Alexander does indeed quit in the match and hands it over to the victory to Mike Santana. But that wasn't the end. Santana says, "You need to keep to your word, Josh," and shake his hand. Santana extends the hand. Alexander does indeed shake it. And he asked for the microphone. And he said, "I'm a man of my word. I said I quit. I look you in the eye and admit that he is the new standard of TNA. And I quit tonight. But I quit TNA too." Shocker from Alexander. We know that the contract's due up. What we didn't know was that he was quitting there and then on the spot during that match. What I will say about this match was it was again, we've just had a match of the year contender. We've had another one straight underneath it. This is where TNA, this is the standard of TNA in 2025, people. And if you're not watching it, watch those two matches and then come and tell me why you're not watching TNA after those two matches. Mike Santana is a blue chip wrestler. He went from LAX, he spanned the block literally and gambled on himself and has hit a massive home run. Santana will be a champion in TNA in 2025. You can mark my words on that. Now, going back to Josh Alexander and him quitting TNA. Again, what you may or may not have seen is at the back after that. Yes, he was also given a belt. But Santina Marella comes and says that you're still under contract, Josh, and I expect you Impact this week, this coming Thursday. Interesting times of that. Two unreal matches on TNA, one after the other. Now, on a second note, I must bring up here something that happened on GCW. PCO destroyed the Digital Media Championship at GCW and quit TNA Wrestling. That is legitimate from what I know and from what my sources tell me. He is no longer a member of TNA roster. So for him, for Josh Alexander, I mean, PCO may have done it a bit unconventionally and a bit controversially. But again, a big thank you to both of those guys for what they have done in TNA. Been an incredible run for Josh Alexander. Again, the standard bearer, literally hard to argue with that, with his accomplishments in TNA wrestling. But Mike Santana, now the blue chipper in the promotion, in my opinion. What a great, great match and a great show of respect at the end of it for both guys. We go from match of the year to match of the year, and you know where I'm going with this, to another match of the year candidate. The Rascalz and the Hardys for the TNA Tag Team Championship. Oh, whatever I say in this match can't do it justice. What I will say is this match had NXT involvement. Fraser and Axiom, the NXT Tag Team Champions, were there from the start. They did end up getting involved in a little bit when Trey Miguel got thrown into them. Their chairs at ringside, they popped up and got in the faces of the Rascalz. They got ejected from ringside. But my God, again, these two, they've put on a great show. A little bit sad that, you know, they got ejected from ringside and then the Hardys eventually, not long after, hit the Swanton Bomb, Twist of Fate Swanton Bomb combination for the victory. I want to see this again. And I want to see it with maybe a TLC Full Metal Mayhem match between these two. I don't think it's over with the Rascalz and the Hardys, but my God, just again, check that match out. You need to. It is superb. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And the Rascalz this coming Tuesday on Netflix internationally get an opportunity for the NXT Tag Team Championships against Axiom and Fraser. Go and watch it. Just watch it. For fuck's sake, watch it. There's more of the Rebellion is coming up in April from Los Angeles, California. And Santina Marella will actually address Josh Alexander quitting this coming week on Thursday. But I did say backstage he expects, Josh Alexander to be there this coming week. And of course, the next one is not long away. Sacrifice, March the 14th, El Paso, Texas. Looking forward to that. And Slammiversary is announced for July the 20th. From match of the year to match of the year to match of the year to barbaric match of the year candidate is next. The Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. Masha Slamovich, Rosemary. I'm going to say it. Holy fuck. This was nuts. Absolutely nuts. They, again, I said they could have blood. It had blood. They have staple guns. They brought back Janice. For those of you that don't remember, Abyss used to have Janice, this barbed wire now bat thing or whatever you want to call it. They had it. They had tables. Oh my Jesus Christ. They had like a little door on the cage. Like they had like a cage door, for Christ's sake, on the ring. It was absolutely crazy. As I said, they had Janice. They had Tax. Oh my God. They went absolutely crazy with this. It was chaos just chaos, chaos, chaos. They literally done a thing where I think they end up dumps a ton of thumbtacks on the entrance stage and slammed Slamovich onto her and then drags her by the hair down the entrance ramp full of tacks. Oh my God. It was crazy. Trash can lids in there. 4 steel chairs at one point. Oh, and in the end, there hits I think a requiem onto the steel chairs, Masha, to retain the Knockouts Championship. I mean, Jesus, crazy. But more again, NXT, and we're talking some major NXT name now. People have already said in the past, oh, well, we've only had the smaller ones in TNA. Former women's champion Cora Jade comes out and confronts Masha Slamovich, hinting that it may well be time for Slamovich and Cora Jade in NXT or in TNA. Can't wait for that. Cannot wait. But anyway, time for the main event. And it's Joe Hendry and Nick Nemeth, like we all know. And my goodness me, we said about JBL, we did mention Ryan Nemeth. I did even say Kaz could get involved. And every single one of that came true in this match. We had it all. We had it absolutely all in this. The Cinderella story in TNA is finally over, is what I can say. You believed, we believed, he won it. Joe Hendry did indeed beat Nick Nemeth with, of course, the standing ovation. Doesn't tell the whole story. As Kazarian was coming out to potentially cash in his call your shot gauntlet with both men down, JBL comes out and clotheslines Kazarian from hell, making sure he didn't cash in the championship. On top of that, Ryan Nemeth was banned from ringside. JBL done him as well. And it ends up with Joe Hendry winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. I am so happy for Joe Hendry. It was his time. There was a lot of people slating that it didn't happen at Bound for Glory, but we are so glad. We knew it would happen, and it did happen at Genesis. Frankie Kazarian, on the other hand, has threatened showing up on Raw tonight to go after JBL, who's going to be on Raw. But what a showing from TNA. Joe Hendry, it's now time to believe. Now the question was the chase better than the run? We will find out, and we will all find out this coming Thursday on TNA Impact live on the TNA Plus app. Get it downloaded, get subscribed. You are missing out on some of the best wrestling in 2025 if you do not. I will breathe, I will relax, I will calm myself down. And I will say to everyone, catch us on HTT Buckle on X, HTT Buckle on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on Instagram. We'll be back with review shows, interviews, and so much more this week. But until then, everybody, cross the line and stay safe.